Psalm 79. This is a psalm or a prayer by Asaph whilst Israel or Judah are in captivity. And he considers that it's really unfair how they have been judged. Jerusalem has been destroyed, he complains, and young men have been slain by the enemy. He says, don't hold the sins of our fathers against us. We're in desperate need. So he seems to be saying that we're suffering because of the sins of our fathers. Please stop judging us because of our fathers' sins. At the same time, Ezekiel, the prophet of God, was giving God's perspective on this. And God said through Ezekiel, you're not suffering because of the sins of your fathers. I don't do that. I don't punish children because of the sins of their fathers. You're suffering because of your own sins and you need to repent. Well, Asaph seems to be totally out of step with what God says through Ezekiel. And yet Asaph was a believer, clearly. You see, his trust in God, his belief in God, and though he doesn't quite understand it, he still trusts in God, etc. And his words are here recorded in the scriptures. The conclusion from that is that we all get some things wrong. Asaph was wrong on this point. He's directly in conflict with what God said through Ezekiel. Okay. We all have moral failure, and we all have intellectual failure, the bits we don't get. But moral failure and intellectual failure do not necessarily end your relationship with God. In fact, if they did, who would stand? Because none of us understand God correctly to the end. None of us are morally perfect either. Now, God is in relationship with us. We're in covenant relationship. And so he accepts us where we are and how we are. Now, if that is how God deals with me, then that is how I must deal with them over there and you and her over there, who are also clearly, to my eyes and to your eyes, morally imperfect, intellectually failing on this point, on that point. You say, but the scriptures say this and you believe that. Yes, indeed. And that's true of you and me. Realizing this and seeing this in the Bible characters who had things wrong here and there, but were still accepted by God, understanding that helps you to get away from this terrible judgmentalism towards others and to reflect God's grace to you, to them.